Okay, so this is the part where now we want to use the thread manager inside of the thread list so that we can save and retrieve all the conversations that we made. And in order to do that, we're going to create a thread manager instance. So let's do this before the threads inside of the thread list view. Let thread manager is equal to thread manager dot shared, right? I'm hesitating because, okay, that's one way of doing this. I'm going to add those for now. And in the very first time in the view did load, I'm going to save the thread managers with those threads here. So I'm going to do threads or thread manager dot shared. I'm sorry, we don't need the share because it's already there, but we're going to do dot add thread, and we're going to add these threads. So one at a time here. So I'm going to copy this one and put it here. Then I'm going to do the same for the two other times. So the very first time, we're going to add those threads. So I'm going to add the second one. And then I'm going to add the third one. Why? Because the very first time we are populating the thread manager, right? So I'm populating the thread manager. And then once I have this, well, I assign it to threads. So threads is equal to thread manager dot threads. There we go. So now the threads are getting there in the view did load. Now, whenever we want to add a thread, well, we have to add it to the thread manager. So here in the add new thread, the code needs to change. We need to say thread manager dot add thread, and that will be the thread. And then we don't append it here. What we do, we add this to the thread. So threads is equal to thread manager dot threads. There we go. Okay. Now let's run this and see if that's calling the code. And how can we tell if it's calling the code? Well, we can put a breakpoint in the thread manager here, and we already did that earlier to see if it's going to set it. So I'm going to run that. And by the way, adding the thread, do it only one time, otherwise you're going to have a lot of them. They're going to be repeating. So, okay, as you can see, it's calling it, and it's going to call it 3 times, right? So I'm going to click on continue. Second time, all right, and I'm going to click on continue one more time, and you'll see, there we go, third time. All right, and there you go, it's here. Now, what you want to do is stop the app. You want to delete the, so go to the thread list view controller, and in the code where we say to add the thread, just comment those parts out. Why? Because you want to make sure that now it's loading them. So whenever we use a thread manager, it's loading them. And you can double check that by going to the thread manager and put a breakpoint in the get right here. And let's run. And that should run at least one time. That should come here. And as you can see, it's getting called. And you can keep on going to see what's going on. And yes, it's going into do with the data from the file. So far so good. Click on run, and there we go. It's all here. So now, check this out. If I literally click on plus and add another name, so Jennifer, and click on add, there we go. We see Jennifer. Now, if I stop the app, okay, and I run the app again, Jennifer is here. So it is working as expected, and we can keep on adding a new one. Natalie, add, and here we go. We have another one, another person. And if I stop the app, I remove it and I rerun it, Natalie should be here too. Excellent. They're all here. So it's working as expected. It's saving them and retrieving them. Excellent job. Now, the next step would be what? Well, we need to be able to drill in the conversation, and we also should want to be able to delete a thread, right? So there's still some work to be done, but we are going in the right direction. Good job so far.